Thank you, Mark. And thank you to my cousin Phyllis. I'm really kind of verklempt about your sponsoring today. So thank you very much. I'd like to start off today with simply settling, to become present in this space and to let go of the getting here. So just sit in a comfortable position and breathe. And there's no need to do anything special with your breath, but I encourage you to soften your belly. And as our belly is soft, our breath may just deepen naturally. So inhaling and exhaling. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. So thank you. I feel a little bit more settled. I hope you do as well. I am dedicating today's meditation to my mother, May Zellico, who, as you have already heard, was born on this day 113 years ago in the little town of Berdichev in the Ukraine. She was a very spiritual woman with no language for spirituality. And she was a very wise woman with really little formal education. Today's Parsha, Tetzaveh, you shall instruct, is perfect for the week of her birthday. She always felt really inadequate about her lack of education. So she was constantly instructing my siblings, my brother and sister and I, to keep learning. So I think that she would be very pleased if she could see this today, to see that I am indeed continuing to learn. And maybe we never let go of needing to please our parents, but that's a subject for a different day. The Parsha spends a great deal of time and detail talking about the clothing and the adornments for the high priest Aaron and his sons. And for those of you who were here yesterday, Cantor Julie Newman really brought our attention to this aspect of the Parsha, and it was magnificent. I'm going to be focusing on a different part of the Parsha. This Parsha opens with a relatively simple instruction. In the first two lines, which I'm using the Women's Torah Commentary translation. So the first two lines read, God is speaking to Moses, "You shall further instruct the Israelites to bring you clear oil of beaten olives for lighting, for kindling lamps regularly. Aaron and his sons shall set them up in the tent of meeting, outside the curtain which is over the ark of the pact, to burn from evening to morning before Yud-Heh Vav-Heh. It shall be a dew from the Israelites for all time throughout the ages." So this is lighting the Nir Tamid, the eternal light, the light for all the ages, before attending to any of the details that follow. And so it strikes me that it elevates the importance of this light because it really came first in the Parsha. The light in the Mishkan, and that it needs to be kindled regularly, really grabbed my attention. We know that the Mishkan is a holy place. It houses the tablets that Moses brought down from Sinai. And last week, God said, build a Mishkan for me so that I can dwell among you. So the Mishkan is the figurative home for God. Now, I look at all of this in metaphorical terms. So I see the Mishkan as our body, and our body contains a divine spark. The phrase B'Tselem Elohim, that we're created in God's image, to me means that there's a spark of the divine in us. And I see that spark as this internal, ever-present light, our personal Nir Tamid. And the logic that I use follows that the more we attend to our inner light, the more filled with light our Mishkan will be. The more light that we have in our Mishkan, in our bodies, the more light we can spread into the world. And the world needs it. So this inner light, which some people refer to as consciousness, and the term conscious awareness is another way that some people define the divine. So that's another way of looking at this inner light as conscious awareness. And Jonathan Slater, in his book, A Partner in Holiness, explores the teachings of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdirchev, my mom's hometown. And Rabbi Levi Yitzchak says that the light of the Nir Tamid should be looked at as the Yetzer HaTov, the inclination that everybody has, that we all have to do good. So attending to the light of the Mishkan regularly, which was also mentioned in this first couple of lines of the Parsha, excuse me, I interpret that to be daily. And we know that anything that's practiced daily for a long enough period of time, I think many people think it's 30 days. I have no idea if that's really true. But anything that's practiced daily for a period of time creates a habit. So we can look upon kindling the light, attending to the Nir Tamid as a daily practice, as creating a habit. So how do we attend to our inner Nir Tamid? I think the answer is through meditation. If we have a meditation practice, then we have a tool that we can call upon when we need it, when we're not, quote, on the cushion. So this other piece from these first two lines of the Parsha, that the light should be kindled from night until morning, from evening till morning, is important. That's kindling the light when it's dark. We know that we all have periods of time when things are dark for us, when we're having difficulty. And if we have a regular practice, then we have a well-honed tool that we can call upon when things get dark for us. So before we move into our meditation, I want to just share the last line of Mary Oliver's "When I Am Among the Trees." I'm sure this will be familiar to many of you. And you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. So I invite you to take your seat, whatever posture you generally use for meditation. And if you're new to meditation, I encourage you to sit reasonably comfortably with your feet flat on the floor and allow yourself to really sink into wherever you're sitting, be it on the chair, on a cushion, or if you're standing, to really feel your feet rooted on the floor. Be supported where you're sitting or standing. And then lift from your pelvis all the way up to the top of your head so that the crown of your head is reaching up for the sky, elongating that spine. And you may want to bring your shoulders up to your ears and then back slowly and down, having your shoulder blades slide down your back, lifting your heart space so that you're broad across the chest. And I encourage you to gaze downward as though you're looking inside your body, looking down toward your heart. And the invitation during this meditation period is to attend to your inner light, to your near tamid, regardless of how you view it, as a light, as a divine spark, as conscious awareness, as your Yetzer HaTov, any or all of these aspects. I find a particular visualization really useful for this meditation. My hands are cupped in my lap, and I imagine that it's a bowl that I'm holding. And this bowl is filled with freshly pressed oil. And I kindle the oil in the bowl. And a flame arises. And I take this bowl and its flame, and I place it in my body, in my Mishkan. And with each inhale, that flame grows just a little bit. So that slowly the flame keeps growing and eventually fills my entire body. So I encourage you to use this visualization or another one if one comes to you, or a mantra that you might like, or breath work. Whatever's going to work for you as we sit in silence and attend to our inner light. Remembering, of course, that allowing the light to grow is what's important, not forcing it. And we'll sit for about 10 minutes. So I invite you to gently deepen your breath and slowly begin to bring your attention outward. And as you are very slowly and very gently coming back to the room, naturally with a smile on your face, I'm going to read a passage from Rabbi Rami Shapiro's book, Minyan. Spirituality is living with attention. Living with attention leads me to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the response I have to the great debt I accrue with each breath I take. Attending to the everyday miracles of ordinary living, I am aware of the interconnectedness of all things. I cannot be without you. This cannot be without that. All cannot be without each. And each cannot be without every. Thanksgiving is not for anything. It is from everything. May I cultivate the attention to allow the thanks that is life to inform the dance that is living. Thank you all for practicing with me. And I turn it back over to Mark now.
Thank you so much, Fran. It was just beautiful. Friends, we seal our practice as we do every day by offering an opportunity for those of you who are in mourning, or if you're observing a yard site today, or if it's your custom to participate in Kaddish, to do so, and for those who are not doing so, to remain in your practice, remain present, be compassionate present for those who are. And if you are reciting Kaddish, I invite you to share the name or names of those you're honoring today in the chat box, either now or after we recite Kaddish, and to join me by rising in body or in spirit to recite the words together. Yitkadal.
Kadash Shemei Rabbah.
Yama Dibra Hilute Amlich Malchute Vayelchon Kayet Al Beit Yisrael Va'agala Bizman Kari Imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam V'Amen Amen.
Yitbarach
Barach
Vishtabach
V'Yishtabach
Yitramam
Yitramam
Yitadar
V'Yitnaseh
Dale Vital
Yadar
May
V'Yitalev V'Yitalal May
Ve'ol
V'Kushta Le'ila
Kata
Min Kol Birchata
Kata
V'Shirata Tushbechata
Amerum
V'Nechalata
Amen
Amiram B'Alma V'Imru
Yeshlu
Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba
Israel
Mishmaya Chaim Aleinu
Amen
V'Kol Yisrael Amen.
Shalom
Aseh Shalom
Hallelujah
Librabav
Shalom
Aseh Shalom Aleinu
Yahoy
V'Al Kol Yisrael
Yaakov
Kol Yoshvei Tevel
Tevel
Imru.
Amen.
And friends, thanks so much as always for joining us today. Thanks to our leader, our teacher for today, Fran Zamore. I'm going to put Fran's email in the chat box for those who might be interested in reaching out to get information about the meditation sessions that Fran leads at Adat Shalom in Bethesda, Maryland on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Want to thank, of course, Adi Stein for holding our tech Mishkan so beautifully as he does every day. And thank our sponsor for today, Phyllis Osterman, for sponsoring our practice in honor of our teacher, Fran Zamore, and her mom, May Zellico, Zichrona Livracha. May her memory be a great blessing for you, Fran, and for you, Phyllis, for your whole family. And may the blessing continue to ripple out into the world as it did today from Berdichev onward. As always, you're invited to stay on for conversation or questions and answers with our teacher for today. And if not, we hope you'll join us tomorrow. We're going to be led tomorrow by another new teacher in our roster of amazing Jewish mindfulness meditation leaders. Rabbi Adam Kliegfeld of Temple Beth Am in Los Angeles will lead us in practice. And I'm delighted that my friend and colleague, Rabbi Sam Feinsmith, will be filling in for me to host the session tomorrow. So look forward to that opportunity to learn with Sam and Adam at our usual time. And I'll be back on Friday. For those who are leaving, hope you have a good, safe rest of the day. Hope to see you tomorrow or sometime soon. If you have a question or a reflection on today's practice, you can put it in the chat box. If it's a question, just preface it by writing question in all caps, and I'll try to keep an eye on that. And Fran, that was just so lovely. Oh, I did put your email in, but I don't think I sent it to everybody. Here it is. Okay. Use that judiciously. That was just a beautiful meditation, Fran. It's just beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thanks for lifting up that aspect of this week's Torah portion, which is, I just like, it's a great text for meditation and a great intention for us to bring, and a great framing for the practice itself, the way you described it, of every day kind of attending to that inner light so beautifully. So the question I wanted to ask you was, I don't remember how you put it during the meditation, but at some point you said, don't force it, just allow it, right? Which raised the issue for me, it's interesting, about the interplay between effort and allowing things to happen. And it seems to me that meditation is a great opportunity to be aware of that interplay. Like you're talking about establishing a practice and establishing a habit so that it becomes ingrained in some way, which entails effort. You got to show up, get yourself here, you got to pay attention, you got to be in the game. But then there's something paradoxical about, once you put in the effort, then there's something about allowing things to unfold and happen. So I wondered if you would just talk about that, or, what went into formulate, I don't know, I don't want to put you on a spot, but just, maybe reflecting on your experience of that, of when we're in the practice, noticing the capacity to allow things to happen.
So I'm going to use a baking analogy because I'm a baker as opposed to a baseball player. I know those are your analogies. I get all of my ingredients together and I follow the recipe, and that's my effort. And I put the bread or the cake or the whatever in the oven. And then I have to sit back and allow the oven to bake it. And I don't want to take it out too soon. And I don't want to leave it in too long. But I need to just sit back and let it happen. So for me with meditation, my effort is actually, I sit on a cushion in the morning. My effort is actually getting onto the cushion. I mean, there are days when I'll wake up and I'll do my normal routine. And if I do not sit on the cushion before I go down to the kitchen, it's hard to get onto it for me. So I have that effort of getting onto the cushion and saying, I am going to set my timer and I am going to sit for 10, 15, whatever, however many minutes. And then once I'm there, I have to allow the process to just happen. Does that?
That's pretty fantastic. And I can see that's an analogy that really lands with a lot of people. Just going to add on share from my own experience of, I'm always surprised for myself I feel like meditation has exposed my underlying assumption that everything requires effort, and that it's not so easy necessarily to allow things to be. And maybe in baking too, that's true too. Like it's hard to let go. It's just hard, you put, like you said, like you have to let you exert your control over the ingredients and mixing the ingredients, they put it in the oven, and you have to trust that the process is going to unfold as it needs to. So, but I feel both some anxiety about the letting go of the effort and the control, but also relief. Mostly these days, relief of, oh, I don't have to do it all. All I have to do is show up and, like you said, get myself on the cushion or get myself to this sit or this practice. And I can trust that, I can trust the process that things will unfold. And maybe even that's the practice itself, is learning to have the lived experience of, I can trust this, I can trust this happening now. There's a
I think
question.
there's a big trusting process. I think that a big part of this is trusting that if I do this, it'll work out. It'll be fine.
Because we're really not doing anything.
That's right.
We're just sitting here. There's a question from Michael. Some commentators translate that verse as God saying, "Build the Mishkan so I can dwell with you." That's Asuli Mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. Build a Mishkan. This was from last week's parsha. So that I can dwell with you. Can we parallel lighting our Ner Tamid at night to God appearing at night as fire? I think there's a lot of different pieces of the story of the Mishkan there, because when the Mishkan was completed, then there, God appeared as a pillar of fire at night, a pillar of smoke during the day, which is just like one more metaphor to play with, right? And makes us think about the connection between the Ner Tamid and that fire. It adds the dimension of, I don't remember can you remember exactly how you put it when you're describing the light, that internal light or fire, the Ner Tamid, as, how did you put it? Did you put it as like the light of God, or?
Well, I gave several options. One is that it's light, so it could be the flame. And another is the a spark of the divine, and conscious awareness.
Conscious awareness itself, right?
Right, and the Yetzer HaTov.
All really great. So
yeah, I like baking them in the same pan.
That's great. That's great. I really did appreciate that. Also appreciated the visual imagery of holding the bowl of oil, and the flame arising and bringing it inward. Oh, I know what else I wanted to ask you about, the physical posture. Sometimes I hear teachers suggest or invite people to gaze downward or incline their head or tip their chin down. And I was really taken by and found it helpful to have this idea of looking down as if I was looking into my heart, in terms of bringing awareness inside. Do you always do that, or was that something particular that you wanted to bring in relation to this teaching with the Ner Tamid?
I don't always do that. And it was something I wanted to bring in because I really wanted us to try to embody this light inside us and to just kind of picture it there. And for me, my Mishkan is in my heart space. Last year, I think it was, when we did last week's Parsha, I did a whole thing about bringing all of those cherubim and other aspects into the body, into the heart space, creating the Mishkan. So
creating a Mishkan inside, yeah.
Right. So that's still dancing in my head.
It's really beautiful. It's interesting because these Torah portions, if you were to ask people about the book of Exodus, in general, people will, remember or know and learned about, the Exodus story.
Right.
But this whole second half of the book of Exodus is about the building of the Mishkan, and people sometimes are surprised to find so much meaning in it, but this was really, really powerful. Marion Ross put in the chat, by the way, that it's also her mother's birthday, who would have been 114 years old today.
Oh,
So it's a nice alignment there too. And it was just it's just really moving to hear you speak about your mom and where she came from, that she came from Berdichev, and to think about the arc of the story that brings you here today to share this. It's very moving.
I have a whole story that I've made up about how spiritual and wise she was based upon what was in the air in that town. Once I started learning about Rabbi Levi Yitzchak, I just figured there was so much in that town that by osmosis, her parents got it and sort of passed it on to her, and she passed it on to me, and here we are.
Here we are. Amazing. It's really amazing. All right, Fran, I want to thank you for, bringing that light. We're lifting up that light for each of us today, helping us tend it, and also framing this whole, I know you're a regular here, every day or almost every day, and really appreciate that so much. And you help everybody, tend that Ner Tamid by virtue of being part of this community and by leading today. So thank you for that. Thanks to everybody who's here today for doing that. By the way, welcome to any Adat Shalom folks who are Fran fans and followers who are here, and anyone who may either has never been here before or has may have dropped in from time to time. We were so glad to have you. And so just a reminder that Fran leads that group. It's at Adat Shalom in Bethesda, Maryland on Tuesdays at 11.
And it's virtual, so it's not
Right.
physically at Adat Shalom.
Unfortunately, but
right. So if you email me, I can send you the link.
Okay. All right, Fran, a lot of appreciation. Much love to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Adi. Thank you, Phyllis. And I will miss you tomorrow, but I'll see you on Friday, and enjoy practice tomorrow with Rabbi Adam Klickfeld. Everyone, be well.